Today, I am here with none other than Rita Moreno. She is a self-proclaimed, proud Puerto Rican singer, dancer, and actress. She has won numerous awards, actually, I think every award that there is probably out there, but she doesn't let that define her success. She knows how hard she worked. So today we're going to talk a little bit about her journey and lessons she's learned along the way. Rita, it is my pleasure to welcome you.
Well, I'm delighted for your interest. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping me to communicate with people that I would otherwise not have any connection with, and that makes me really happy.
Well, you have lived a very large, colorful life filled with some bumps in the road and sometimes some real big potholes. And you have been very open about sharing them. So we're going to dig into that a little bit today,
Sure.
But I would like to know a little bit more about at 5 years old, when you left Puerto Rico on that big ship with your mother and made it to New York in the wintertime, which you left this beautiful island and it was gray and scary.
We thought of it really as another country. Nueva York was literally for us, and almost in every respect, another country because, number one, they spoke another language. And there were many, many other things where there were no comparisons whatever to the paradise I came from.
So, Rosita Dolores Alverio at 5 years old.
Well said.
Thank you. I'm a farm girl from New Jersey, so I worked on it.
That's well pronounced.
You end up in this strange land without your brother, and you're there with your mother. Fast forward, you end up as an actress. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how that happened?
It happened because some people are just wired a certain way, and they are almost meant by the fates and the gods to do one particular thing in life. And for me, obviously, that was the arts. I was going to somehow or other involve myself in dance. It started with dancing, and then I thought, I can sing too, so it went to that, and then I thought, yeah, but I want to be a movie star. And that's how it started. I started as a dancer because it's what I did. I could shake my little booty and be cute as hell, probably, at the age of
You're
5.
still cute as hell, so yes.
And a friend of my mother's, who was a Spanish dancer, saw me tootling around in the apartment and said, I think Rosita may have some dancing talent. Do you mind if I take her to a dancing teacher who teaches me? And my mom said, no, that would be fine. And she took me to meet a man named Paco Cancino, who was famous mostly because he was Rita Hayworth's uncle. She was Margarita Cancino before all of that wonderful stuff happened for her and to her. And that's how I really entered show business.
Wow. And you, I'm going to pull a magazine article out because you have this quote, which I'd like to learn a little more about. I wanted to be a movie star, but I never imagined that it would be so hard and so painful. So most people think you become a movie star and it is glamorous and limousines and champagne and life gets easier, but not for you.
It was very difficult. It was difficult because my idea of stardom and Hollywood's idea of stardom were two really very separate things. And it didn't occur to me that I would have to deal with the whole business of being typed. And people saw me. It didn't matter the color of my skin, that I was a fair-skinned Puerto Rican. That meant nothing. The name was Rosita Alverio, which later became Rosita and Rita Moreno, my stepfather's last name. And I found out in the most painful ways that I was perceived in certain ways that had very little to do with what I had in mind for my movie stardom to be. And it was all island girls and sex pots and off-the-shoulder blouses and accents of all sorts that I wasn't even trained in.
And heavy makeup, right?
Oh, well, it wasn't so much heavy as it was
Dark.
very dark.
Yes.
I was always the girl who had the wig in the scene. I always had the black hair wigs. I got so used to that it became just customary for me. They'd say, okay, my agents would say, we got you a partner movie, yay, and it's the native girl, not so yay, and you have an appointment with Max Factor to get your wig fitted. And at the time, Max Factor used to make all of those Indian wigs, all kinds of wigs, but particularly those. They were very good at that.
So you didn't get to be your authentic self?
Hell no, not at all. And, at some point, there was a point where I lost sight of who that person was. And it was tough, and it was mean. It was mean because I could only be perceived in certain ways. And my agents saw me that way. They saw me as their exotic client. Unlike, in those days, too, I don't think agents handled black people, black actors or actresses at all. I don't ever remember seeing people with dark skins in agencies or on the roster of who they handled.
So you had a long road ahead of you in order
I had no idea just how long that road was going to be and how hurtful that was. How hurtful it was to be perceived as an other simply because I came from another country. I didn't have an accent. I spoke perfect. It was my duty to myself, I felt, when I came to this country, to learn English as beautifully as I could. And I really did. I worked very hard at not having an accent. I spoke really good English at a very early age because it was clear to me that that was really important. And not that it mattered in terms of films because that's all they wanted. They wanted accents I wasn't even familiar with. I could be playing an Egyptian girl. I could be playing an island girl. I could be playing an East Indian girl. Anything but just
who you were.
A girl.
Yes. And we fast forward. You're one of very few actors, I think you can count them on one hand, that have an EGOT. And you also have, so that's, I would assume people know, but we're going to go with Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. Then you have the Peabody on top of that. You have the Presidential
Medal of Freedom.
You were honored at the Kennedy Center, and you have a lifetime achievement from the Screen Actors Guild. Am I getting them all right?
Oh boy, you did your homework.
I adore you, and it was the best homework to do. So as I fast forward and I was reading all of this about you, what struck me was that people were assuming that validated you. And your quote was something to the effect of, I know how hard I worked for these. I don't need them to validate me.
Yes, I found that out very late in life, though. Thank you, therapy. I don't know what I would have done without the help of someone who was way wiser and more experienced than I. So I always have to refer to that, even if it's briefly, that when you're not sure of who you are, and when you find yourself playing the role that suits others, you really need help. You can't do it by yourself. You just can't.
That's really good advice.
I'm sure there are people who have been, but I don't know any.
Well, and especially with what's gone on with the pandemic and some people having problems adjusting to what it means for their career as they come out, I think that's really amazing advice. And one of the things I think that is hard for women in our industry is I often hear them say, oh, I was lucky, or, oh, well, I was just in the right place at the right time.
The planets were aligned.
Yes, the
has
stars.
Nothing to do with me.
The hard work that you've done and that you deserve the recognition. And so is there any words of advice to say to these women to help them find that inner strength to say, I deserve it?
my daughter and I did some homework because I knew you were going to ask something about this. And because of the age difference, I mean, I am 90 now.
And going strong.
Yes, yes. But my frame of reference is kind of different. So I helped with her help. I looked up some things that I thought were immensely helpful. And I'm going to put on my glasses and read them because this is something I could not have known.
So you did your homework too.
Always.
Thank you.
You always do. You have to.
You always do your homework.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you hear that? It says, be your own champion to foster success. Don't be shy about highlighting your contributions to the workplace. And that's hard to do. It's hard not to get in there with a boss or someone from whom you're seeking perhaps help or seeking a promotion of some kind. It's very hard to highlight your own wonderful attributes. Speak up for yourself, and if you can, others. Be an advocate. This is maybe the most important thing I read about, and it's so good, particularly for people of color and outliers like myself. It says, take criticism as an opportunity to learn and grow. Perfection can hamper achievement. Take criticism as an opportunity. Don't take it necessarily as an insult or a threat. That's the most important thing. And it's very hard for people of color sometimes to do because we are so sensitive about our characters. But this is more important than anything else. And believe in yourself and know that you do good work and deserve success. That's easier said than done. I know that. But it's something to keep in mind. And then maybe one of the most important things, pick your battles. Pick your battles and this is hard for me still, don't let emotion override clarity.
Oh, that's good.
And good decision making. Let me repeat that. Pick your battles and don't let emotion override clarity and good decision making. I think that's just incredible advice.
It is amazing advice coming from the Rita Moreno, and I am just thrilled and honored that you joined us today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for asking me and giving me the opportunity to dispense some of this great wisdom. Listen to me. Don't be offended so quickly. Just think, and you will be clearer.